This video is intended to be used in conjunction with the written instructions that came with your product. S&C Instruction Sheet 662-510. You can download this instruction sheet at snc.com. S&C Manual PMH Pad-Mounted Gear operates at high voltage. Failure to observe the precautions below will result in serious personal injury or death. Some of these precautions may differ from your company's operating procedures and rules. Where a discrepancy exists, follow your company's operating procedures and rules. Incorporating S&C Mini-Rupter switches and S&C power fuses with Uni-Rupter interrupters in freestanding, self-supporting enclosures, S&C PMH Pad-Mounted Gear allows you to tailor medium voltage switching and protection packages to your underground distribution applications. This video will demonstrate how to operate the gear. We will demonstrate in a controlled area for ease of filming. There are many different configurations of PMH pad-mounted gear. We will demonstrate on a PMH 9, which has 2 compartments on one side of the gear containing Mini-Rupter switches and 2 compartments on the other side of the gear containing fuses. To open the doors of either compartment, first, remove the padlock from the doors. Then, insert a pentahead socket wrench or tool into the latching mechanism. Rotate the wrench or tool 60 degrees counterclockwise to unlatch the doors. Notice, do not apply any undue force when attempting to open the doors. The use of undue force may damage the latching mechanism. Disengage the left door latching mechanism by turning the latch clockwise. Then open each door fully and latch the door holders. On double door models, the adjacent door should be closed and latched to minimize exposure. The Mini-Rupter switch is a 3-pole, 600-amp switch used to switch between power sources. The operating shaft used to control the switch is located on the same side of the enclosure with respect to the switch location. To operate the switch, remove the padlock and open the switch operating shaft access cover. Then remove the folding switch operating handle from its storage pocket behind the access cover. Unfold the handle and slide it onto the hex switch operating shaft. Notice the switch position indicator, which rests against a stop in either the open or closed position. Arrows indicate switch open or switch closed position. Rotate the handle in the appropriate direction to open or close the switch, and check the switch position indicator to verify that the switch is in the desired position. A viewing window is provided in the switch termination compartment to allow positive visual verification of switch blade position. Warning: always confirm the open-close position of the Mini-Rupter switch by visually observing the position of the switch blades. Remove and fold the switch operating handle and return it to its storage position. Then close and padlock the access cover. Warning: do not leave the switch operating shaft access cover unlocked if the gear is left unattended by qualified persons. Warning: always use an S&C grappler handling tool attached to a suitable universal pole to insert, remove, or replace front barriers. No other tools are recommended. Failure to use the proper tools can result in damage to the equipment, flashover, and injury. The front barrier can be put into 2 positions. It is recommended that the dual-purpose front barrier be inserted into the slide-in position when the Mini-Rupter switch is open and work is being performed downstream of the switch. When the barrier is in the slide-in position, the switch blades are isolated from the main contacts. Moreover, the blades are blocked from closing if, for any reason, the Mini-Rupter switch is operated. Warning: dual-purpose front barriers must be wiped clean before placing them in the slide-in position. In addition, do not leave dual-purpose front barriers in the slide-in position for more than 1 week. These barriers are intended for temporary use only to isolate the blades of the Mini-Rupter switch from the main contacts while work is being performed. If the barriers are left in the slide-in position for extended periods of time, there is a possibility of corona discharge to the barriers. Prolonged exposure to corona discharge may damage the barriers and result in a flashover and injury. To insert the barrier in the slide-in position, use an S&C grappler handling tool, catalog number 4423R1, attached to and in line with a suitable universal pole. S&C suggests the grappler tool's prong should be pointed upward when lifting the front barrier. Caution: when ready to close the Mini-Rupter switch, make sure that the dual-purpose front barrier is not in the slide-in position. If the Mini-Rupter switch is inadvertently closed with the front barrier in the slide-in position, it will be necessary to unblock the blades. To do this, rotate the switch operating handle all the way to the open position. This will return the blades to the open position. To restore the dual-purpose front barrier to the normal suspended position, use an S&C grappler tool attached to a suitable universal pole. Slowly and carefully withdraw the barrier with the grappler tool's prong pointed upward so that it clears the slide-in position, so the hooks on the gear settle into the holes in the barrier. Warning: always use an S&C grappler handling tool attached to a suitable universal pole to install, remove, open, or close a fuse. No other tools are recommended. Failure to use the proper tools can result in damage to the equipment, flashover, and injury. To remove a fuse, first, open the appropriate fuse compartment door and secure it with a door holder. On double door models, the adjacent door should be closed and latched to minimize exposure to high voltage. Then, remove only the dual-purpose front barrier associated with the fuse to be opened using the grappler tool for this purpose. With the grappler tool's prong pointed downward, insert the prong into the pull ring of the fuse. If the space is tight between the pull ring of the fuse and an interphase or end barrier, it's acceptable to attach the grappler tool to the pull ring with the prong pointed up. Rotate the hook stick clockwise slightly to ensure full and complete engagement of the grappler tool's prong with the pull ring of the fuse. Pull the fuse vigorously through its full travel without hesitation at any point. A downward force should be maintained on the universal pole through the fuse opening operation to counteract any tendency the fuse may have to bounce toward the closed position. Note that the Uni-Rupter interrupter is designed to require a hard pull to unlatch the fuse, thus reducing the possibility of an incomplete opening operation. Then, remove the grappler tool from the pull ring. Danger: although a fuse in the fully open position provides visual evidence of an open circuit, it does not necessarily mean that the Uni-Rupter interrupter, the load side hinge, or the fuse is de-energized. Note that the barrier is supported on the grappler tool's prongs and held there by engagement of the lifting ring with the grappler tool's cone. It is recommended that the dual-purpose front barrier be inserted into the slide-in position. Use the grappler handling tool for this. See the written instructions for information on 25 kV fault fighter electronic power fuses. For all other fuses, grasp the universal pole with both hands, approximately 2 feet apart, position the grappler tool's cone in the fuse pull ring, and cradle the fuse in the grappler tool's prongs. Stand in a normal, upright position facing the universal pole. Move the pole forward until resistance between the grappler tool and the fuse is felt, approximately 2 inches. Then, remove the fuse from its hinge with a forward and upward lifting motion. After the fuse is removed, hang the dual-purpose front barrier in its normal suspended position using the grappler tool. Warning: if fuses are removed from the mountings, they should be stored in a clean, dry location. Do not store end fittings, holders, interrupting modules, or current-limiting fuses in high-voltage compartments unless the unit is equipped with the optional fuse storage feature suitable for this purpose. The optional fuse storage feature, if furnished, can accommodate spare fuses in each switch compartment. See the written instructions for more details. Danger: do not handle spare fuses unless front barriers for switches are in their normal, suspended positions to guard against inadvertent contact with live parts. S&C manual PMH Pad-Mounted Gear is furnished with S&C fuse mountings with Uni-Rupter interrupter that accommodate S&C type SML20 power fuses, S&C type SML4Z power fuses, or S&C fault fighter electronic power fuses. Fault fighter electronic power fuse mountings also accommodate a variety of current limiting fuses. See the written instructions for information on detecting blown fuses, assembling fuses, and voltage ratings of current limiting fuses. Open the appropriate fuse compartment door and secure it with a door holder. On double door models, the adjacent compartment door should be closed and latched to minimize exposure to high voltage. Then, remove only the dual-purpose front barrier associated with the fuse mounting into which the fuse is to be installed. Insert the barrier into the slide-in position using the grappler tool. Note that the barrier is supported on the grappler tool's prongs and held there by engagement of the lifting ring with the grappler tool's cone. Position the grappler tool's cone in the fuse pull ring and cradle the fuse in the grappler tool's prongs. Then, grasp the universal pole with both hands approximately 2 feet apart with one hand at the opposite end of the pole from the grappler tool. Now, lift the fuse and lower it into its hinge. Make sure that the fuse is securely seated in the hinge, then disengage the grappler tool from the fuse. Danger! Make sure the fuse is kept away from the contacts of the Uni-Rupter interrupter during installation of the fuse into its hinge to prevent re-establishment of the circuit. It is recommended that the associated dual-purpose front barrier be placed in the slide-in position whenever a fuse is open or is being installed into or removed from its hinge. For 25 kilovolt fault fighter electronic power fuses, see the written instructions. Caution! Do not close a compartment door when any of the associated fuses are in the open position. If the door is closed, it will strike the fuse pull ring. The door may be closed if the fuse is removed from its mounting. If the dual-purpose front barrier is in the slide-in position, use the grappler tool to remove it. With the grappler tool's prong pointed downward, insert the prong into the pull ring of the fuse. Rotate the hook stick clockwise slightly to ensure full and complete engagement of the grappler tool's prong with the pull ring of the fuse. Then, with one's face turned away, close the fuse with a swift, unhesitating stroke. Danger! Since there is always the possibility of closing the fuse into a faulted circuit, and since the closing operation is completely operator dependent with no assist from a quick-make mechanism, the closing operation must be accomplished with a swift, unhesitating stroke while turning one's face away. When so operated, the Uni-Rupter interrupter associated with the fuse is capable of closing into a fault current once or twice, remaining operable and able to carry and interrupt rated current. If space is tight between the pull ring of the fuse and an interphase or end barrier, it's acceptable to attach the grappler tool to the pull ring with the prong pointed up. Finally, remove the grappler tool from the pull ring. Then, make sure that complete fuse closure was attained by pushing against the fuse below the upper end fitting with the grappler tool. Danger! Failure to completely close the fuse may result in damage to the Uni-Rupter interrupter, flashover, and injury. Now use the grappler tool to hang the dual-purpose front barrier in its normal, suspended position. Also, install the optional barrier panel if furnished. Then close and latch the doors, pull on the doors to verify that they are securely latched, and install a padlock. We hope you have found this video informative. If you have any questions, please visit our website at snc.com.